Racing games are always awesome, especially in VR. I have yet to find someone who tried a good racing game and didn't enjoy it, even if they are not the biggest racing fan in the universe. Luckily for us PSVR2 gamers, we have GT7, arguably the best racing game on the market currently. But what if you want something less serious, more arcadey, but still equally fun, or perhaps even more fun? What if you're a dirty racer and want a little weapon chaos? Well, that's when EXOcars comes into play. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome if you're new. Today's video is all about XOCUS, the latest action racing game developed by XOCUS and published by JoyWay that hits PSVR2 tomorrow, March 6th. So for those of you who just want the short answer, is the game good or not? The short answer is yes, the game is good. But if you care about multiplayer or steering wheel support, then you should hold off for a couple of weeks until these essential missing components are added. Now that I've given you the short answer, we can now delve deeper into every aspect of XOCUS and let you know what I really think about this game. So let's start with the basics. What does XOCUS offer on launch on PSVR2, and what should it offer in the near future? So fundamentally, the game has 5 modes. A single player mode that branches into 3 modes, a training mode which puts you in a single map and you're basically free to drive however you like, a career mode which is self-explanatory I guess, you have 27 races across 9 different tracks, you unlock new races by completing previous ones, and in this mode you'll face ghosts of real opponents matched to your skill level. So naturally, the more you progress, the more difficult the races become. In the final single player mode, which is currently my favorite, the bot racing mode, in which you challenge AI opponents in any track you like. You also get to choose the number of laps, the bot difficulty, and whether or not you want the race to have weapons. These 3 modes that I just told you about, the training mode, if you can even call it a mode, the career mode and the bot racing mode, are all available at launch, unlike the other 2 remaining modes which are currently unavailable, the multiplayer mode and the tournaments. The developer claims the multiplayer mode is quote-unquote coming before March 27th. That's probably when the first major tournament will kick off, so I guess we're gonna have to take their word for it. But allow me to go on a small rant. If the multiplayer mode is indeed coming before March 27th, do they really have to release the game on March 6th? I mean, the game was delayed for months. Couldn't they have waited a week or 2 until multiplayer was ready and then shipped the game as a complete package? I'm saying this because as a reviewer, I would have loved to review the entire game at launch, and not just the single player mode, because I know for a fact there are many people who don't care about single player in racing games, myself included. But anyways, hopefully they'll add multiplayer soon and it won't be an issue. So let's talk about the gameplay. I usually cover the visual side of things first, but for XOCUS, I'm going to make an exception. That is because the gameplay here is incredible. XOCUS claims that XOCUS is based on real car physics, and that claim is 100% true. The ramps, the car collisions, the natural obstacles such as the scattered rocks in the mountains, every impact, every drift, every touch feels real in XOCUS. You couple that with the different surface types across the 9 available tracks on launch, and you have a real immersive racing game that makes you feel like an actual driver of a real buggy car. Keep in mind that this praise is coming from someone who played the game using thumbsticks. Imagine how much better the game will feel with the proper racing setup. That is when XOCUS adds steering wheel support, of course. I have one small nitpick regarding the gameplay, however. The vibration is a little too intense on the Sense controllers. I mean, it killed my controllers in less than 2 hours of playing, so yeah. Perhaps the developer could ease up on the vibration a bit. But overall, I am very pleased with the gameplay of XOCUS. The cars are very responsive, everything is smooth and works as expected. No frame drops, stuttering or ghosting. It's a silky smooth racing game that is a blast to play and feels truly amazing. I am a little torn on the weapons implementation. On one hand, I do like that the game has weapons. That in itself is a differentiating factor from other racing games like GT7 for example. But on the other hand, I feel like these weapons, which range from shields to actual missiles, they make the races completely unpredictable, and winning or losing is no longer a matter of pure skill, but also depends heavily on luck. You can be in the first place and suddenly someone destroys you with a missile that you cannot evade, and just like that, you're now last in race. Besides, the game is already hard enough. I have to focus on the road, on the natural obstacles on the road, on the opponents, and now you're telling me I have to worry about unavoidable missiles? Get the hell out of here. But no, seriously, it's complete chaos with those weapons. It can work to your benefit, for sure, but it can also work against you. So while I like that the game has weapons, it helps keep things fresh, I'm not sure if I want them all the time in my races. Let's move on now to the graphics segment of this review. So while I can confidently say that EXOcars looks good, at least to my eyes, I still think it can look way better than this. First of all, the aliasing. It seems like a curse at this point because I find myself complaining about this issue repeatedly in my reviews, and unfortunately it doesn't seem like I'm going to stop anytime soon. So I said earlier that EXOcars has 9 tracks. Of those 9 tracks, only 2 do not suffer from overwhelming aliasing, and therefore those 2 are my favorites, the Mountains track and the Beacon track. It's probably because those 2 are the only tracks that don't have many straight lines, but as for the rest, yeah, there is too much aliasing guys, and it's really distracting. So I really hope the developer is looking into this. In terms of sharpness, EXOcars looks decent, but it doesn't look like a built from the ground up PSVR2 racing game. It is a little bit softer than I hoped. Don't get me wrong, the cars and their interiors look extremely detailed and sharp, but everything else kinda looks okay. Nothing spectacular, and to help you understand better, EXOcars looks like a good Quest port. Definitely not up to PSVR2 standards, and it's not just the resolution. The shadows are low quality, the lighting seems off in the majority of the tracks, there is no dynamic lighting, the storm looks weird in Beacon, you get the idea. Maybe that's the price we have to pay for a silky smooth frame rate, but I can't help but feel that the game could look a lot better than this. Again, this is not a bad looking game by any means. It's just that now we've seen what PSVR2 is capable of in terms of visuals, it's safe to say that we now have higher expectations. Something else I want to mention here is that I was somewhat disappointed that the wheels don't leave any marks on those rocky, dusty terrains. Maybe that's something the developer can add in the future. The soundtrack of EXOcars is well made. It makes you feel excited to race, so I guess mission accomplished for the audio team at XOCUS. I do like the customization and the upgrade systems in EXOcars. They're simple, they get the job done. Obviously don't expect the same level of customization and upgrades of GT7, but what is on offer here is fine. You earn in-game credits for completing races in the career mode, and then you can spend those credits on car upgrades like tuning the engine power or the service grip, or you can go all in on aesthetics and buy the best looking frame or wheels. Technically speaking, the game is great. Like I said earlier, the game performs flawlessly with no hiccups whatsoever. I did experience one small bug. If you take a look at your AI opponents before the race kicks off, you'll see that the steering wheels are turning left and right, but other than that, there is really nothing to complain about. It's a very polished game, and for that we have to thank both the developer and Sony's Q&A team. So EXOcars on PSVR2. What's the verdict? Well, it's a really solid racing game guys, I really mean it. If you pick this up tomorrow, I'm pretty sure you will enjoy it. If you don't care about multiplayer and if you don't have a steering wheel. And those are big ifs. So do I recommend buying EXOcars at launch? Unfortunately I can't, due to the missing essential features, but as soon as those features are added, yeah, definitely pick this one up. It will have crossplay, so there should be plenty of drivers online, it is super fun, the buggy cars feel great to drive, the soundtrack is cool, the visuals are alright, maybe not the best, but it's still acceptable. So overall, it's a very competent racing game that we should definitely support as soon as it's finished. I hope the developer has a long roadmap for EXOcars because this feels like the beginning of something truly great. And that's gonna have to do it for this review guys. Let me know in the comments if you're going to buy EXOcars on PSVR2 or not, and I'll see you guys in the next video, but until then, take care.
Village.